answer, because you are that, you are capable, you are gifted, and you are so unique. All of the things that you may hate about yourself are your strengths. It's okay to be soft. It's okay to be opinionated. It's okay to be different. And it's so okay to just be you. The world awaits to receive you.
Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step-by-step guided video and aids to start you on the TLC deed investment process. The course offers many learning tools for new investors, helping ensure you safely invest in tax liens and deeds. Contact us today and join the buyback team.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Let me pop myself on the screen. Blessings, blessings, blessings. Welcome, welcome, primetime home buyers. Today we're doing our first Secure Your Energy on Primetime Home Buyers page. And like we usually are on our Facebook, our social medias, we're all here for it today. So today we're going to be talking about a serious topic. I'm not going to delay. There are a lot of scams going on right now. Now, a few episodes ago, we talked about some of the laws, the federal laws that's put in place to protect consumers, such as the Fair Housing Act, the Consumer Protection Bureau, and things like that. Now that these particular agencies are not funded as much as they were, there has been a big outbreak of scams to add on to the situation of people enduring what went on with the pandemic, the money situation, and people really being lured or, more readily willing to indulge in not schemes, but get quick, rich tactics. And that makes the general population more susceptible to scams. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about scams related to real estate. There's not just one type of scams with loans, the rates, deed transfer. There's a few. So we're going to highlight 3 tonight that we want you guys to be aware of as consumers, tax lien investors, and general real estate investors. So the first article we're going to be showing you is from Global News. And this is an article that is from 2023. It is an update article. Now, if you can see it, is it on the screen nice and clear? Yes, we're going to start by reading this article, but I do have a few videos to share with you guys, so just hold tight. Now, housing sales remain slow in Waterloo regions in January, but prices climb. So this was the article. But when you go in, particularly in this situation, real estate fraud on the rise. And this is what caught my attention. So let's watch this.
Well, Canadians are being warned about fraudulent property scandals that are taking place across the country. For example, recently in Ontario and British Columbia, 32 property fraud cases have been linked to people impersonating homeowners. To educate us on these cases, as well as how to protect yourself from property fraud, is Brian King, a private investigator with King International Advisory Group. Brian, we appreciate this, such an important topic. I mean, 32 are the ones that we know about, but give us a sense, generally speaking, how common is this?
Well, it's becoming more frequent than we would like. We've noticed a substantial increase in what we call mortgage fraud, starting back just around the beginning of COVID because of all the electronic signings that were taking place. And then we noticed that these organized crime groups were switching to total title transfers in early 2000 or late 2021, early 2022.
So obviously it helps that they don't even have to go into the office and see the lawyer or see a mortgage broker, for example. It's all sort of done online. So it allows the fraudulent activity because they can essentially pose as the homeowner. But give us a sense of how this is happening. How are they going about this?
Well, they're very organized. This is not one person targeting an individual. This is a typically a well-organized group that is targeting a specific home. Typically, they look for homes that have a high equity value, either no mortgage or a low mortgage, and they're just very good. The IDs that they produce, even when they do, and in some of our cases, they have met with the lawyers in person. They're able to fool the lawyers in person with this fake ID and some rather good acting.
So I would imagine short-term rentals, Airbnbs, for example, or even snowbirds who go south for the winter and their home is vacant. Is it fair to say that they would be some of the most likely targets?
Definitely more vulnerable when your house is vacant and has all the qualities that I mentioned before. Typically, they would like to have the home empty, makes it much easier. And Airbnb has been one that we've seen lately where they take it over for a short-term rental. We also have long-term leases, but they only lease it for the purposes of the fraud. It's usually imposters that lease the property, and then another part of the group works through the total title transfer, dealing with the lawyers.
So just so we understand correctly, people can literally sell the home under the original owner's noses, but they can also effectively refinance, can't they, and take what was the equity and steal it.
That's exactly what they're doing. They're doing this for the money. They will take all of the proceeds from the sale of the property and move it typically into a fake bank account that is in the name of the true homeowner. But again, once they have the false ID created, they open a bank account and then will move the proceeds from that funds into that bank account and then quickly move it out. That's the only thing that particular bank account is used for. And just sits dormant.
So how can homeowners protect themselves?
Well, that's a question that I get asked quite a bit, and really the biggest thing that I tell people is make sure you have title insurance, because title insurance will protect you, will defend you in these cases. Unfortunately, for some of the Zoomers and older people who purchased their homes prior to title insurance becoming fairly vogue in Canada in early 2000, mid 2000s, they won't have title insurance. So I would suggest that anybody that doesn't, go out and buy it.
It's almost unbelievable to think that this is even possible. So real quick, we have less than a minute, but I'm curious, for those who had a lot of their money stolen, or worse, the home is sold outright. In terms of what is the recourse for them?
Well, it's a painful process. It takes sometimes can take up to a year to a year and a half to go through the legal process of getting back in your name. But the reality is that the courts have basically ruled that it gets turned back over to the rightful owner. It's just there's a lot of legal work involved because the properties are transferred legally. In the eyes of the courts. Yeah.
All right. Good reminder, right? To at least have something on your mortgage, or obviously title insurance is a really important one as well. Brian, we appreciate this, shedding some light on a very important topic and really a growing problem. That is Brian King, private investigator with King International Advisory Group. Thank you, Brian, again.
Actually, this was a really great example of mortgage fraud. Now, to the tax lien and tax deed investors, the program that we did, or the quick seminar that we did on the different types of deeds, I want to break this down to you how this can happen in a little more detail. So you as a homeowner, you have the title that's in your mortgage company, you still have a loan on it. So what will happen is that the person will get all of your personal information, everything that they can use to identify you. Maybe it's your social security, get an ID, as they say, get a copy of a birth certificate, a few things they're going to use for a check and balance system at the deed office of recorders. What they will do is actually print out a fraudulent deed, and this deed is a quit claim deed. You remember what I told you? If you see a quit claim deed, stop, pause, think about it. The quit claim deed is not secured. It's not guaranteed, meaning that it's not guaranteed that the person who's transferring that quit claim deed to you has ownership or even interest in the property. The only deed that actually does that and that they do use readily is the warranty deed. This is what mortgage companies use. So it's really sad that an actual recorder's office, a lawyer will fall for scams like this, especially if it involved a quick claim deed, because they know those deeds are not secured. Now, if they have a warranty deed, there's other paperwork that goes with it, and there's transfer documents with that, as well as the allocations of money or whatever is that contract. And all of that is recorded in the court recorder's office. So whoever's transferring and in the middle of selling or buying have access to these particular documents. And these are the documents that we teach you how to look for with the buyback team. As we told you, when you're doing your due diligence, we teach you how to go in and look at the deed. Was it transferred consecutively? Is it a warranty deed, a quick claim deed? So now you have somebody who created a quick claim deed, and then they go on, let's say Craigslist, because they sell property on Craigslist. They sell property on all of these little small websites, and even realty websites has been involved in this mistakenly that we're going to show you. So they have the credentials that match you, birth certificate, maybe a social security card that they created, and an ID. So now they find a potential buyer, someone who's gonna let's say what's going on right now. We have a lot of big companies that's buying property at boats, high value, and they're like, "Oh, this is a deal. This home is worth $230,000." And the mortgage that they probably see, the last one is probably worth $110,000, and they're like, "This is amazing. We can get this property moved forward." Maybe they didn't do their full due diligence. Okay, let's say that, because in the process like this, someone did not do their full due diligence. The person sells the property. The fake owner that created the quit claim title goes and sells that to someone who goes and records it. The recorder's office is not checking the legality of the document. They're just checking that you have all the signatures, the dates, and the transfer of the name from the person prior to the new owner is rightfully there. And hey, if they have an ID and they got it notarized, this is what makes the process of transferring it back to the original owner a lengthy process, because they literally went through the court process and they fraudulently got through it. Now, the person completed it, got the wire transfer. As they say, this is going to be another aspect to this broadcast, because wire transferring is becoming an issue as well. And they're tricking people with that. So they do a quick wire transfer to say, hey, put your deposit down, or you're going to do 2 installments of payment. Make the first one here, make the next one there, and then you'll get the transfer of title and you'll get it recorded. By that time, when you go in to do what you need to do, let's say you recorded the title. The homeowner found out some way, and now they're pursuing you because they're like, hey, this is my home. Now it's litigation. Now, most likely, you're going to lose the money. You're going to lose the money. The person who purchased the quick claim title for that property, who was just an amazing deal, the scammer is gone, the account is gone, and the homeowner is spending thousands of dollars in time to try to get their property back in their name legally, which can be done, but they have to go through the chains. So if that made sense to you, that was the breakdown of how that scam can work. And it's so sad that it's true. You have to be in front of lawyers. They'll look at it like, hey, this is a good idea. Okay, a notary. A notary is a regular person. They have mobile notaries that go to your house to do this. You know, they're just trying to get in, get out. They see it, flip it, keep it moving. So that is just the first example that we wanted to show you tonight. So sad, so sad. So now we're going to move on into new warning about rising home buying scams. Now we're going to talk about home buying scams. It's the same thing, but it's going to be it's going to be a different angle. And these people are smart. They're smart. This is brought to you by Good Morning America, and this was 10 months ago. Okay, so we're showing you up-to-date information because these things are happening. It's been happening, but it's on the rise right now.
Inventory. Many are eager to make a deal as soon as they can, making some vulnerable to fraud. Now there's a new warning about a growing scheme to take advantage of buyers. Our chief economics correspondent, Rebecca Jarvis, is here to tell us all about it. Good morning, Rebecca.
Hi, Robin. And buying a home is one of the biggest financial decisions you'll make in your life, oftentimes a down payment being your life savings. But experts are warning real estate wire fraud is on the rise. And if you aren't careful, your money could be gone in the blink of an eye.
Becoming a new homeowner is a dream come true, but for some people like Carly Adriatos, it can also become a nightmare.
I had gotten an email that day right around the same time that I was on the phone with the title company. And it was pretty much instructions of how to send, the wire transfer.
But she says it was actually a scam.
I sent the money to the person that had sent it in the email. And then the next day I got a call from my closing company and they stated that they had never received the funds.
Adriatos' nearly $24,000 down payment was gone.
Are you seeing an increase in real estate transfer wires?
Last year was a breakaway year, unfortunately, for consumers being victimized for real estate wire fraud as they're trying to get their down payment closing obligations satisfied, a lot of times by wire transfer.
How does it work? Experts say in many cases, the scammer sends a phishing email to a broker or title company, hacking into their email account. Then the scammer will use that information to trick you, the buyer or seller, into thinking they're your realtor or title company. The email address they use is often similar to the one you've been communicating with. They send wire instructions, you wire the money, but the person you thought sent it never receives it.
These emails look very legitimate.
The U.S. Secret Service, widely known for protecting elected officials, but also responsible for safeguarding the country's financial and payment systems. GMA getting an inside look at the agency's Global Investigative Operations Center and how they protect Americans from real estate wire fraud.
They do what's called a display name tactic.
Investigator Stephen Doherty shows us fraudulent emails from a scammer.
In their email settings, they can actually display the name of the realtor or title agent there instead of it looking like the actual email address they use.
In this case, Doherty says the scammers even stealing the title broker's email signature.
Our criminal actor had access to an email account that was hacked, and then they copied and pasted this information into their attack email.
So who's behind this?
These guys are very efficient criminal networks. They have cells located everywhere, domestically here in the U.S., Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa, Southeast Asia, you name it. They are local. They are global.
Secret Service says it has recovered approximately $210 million for victims since 2019, but criminals are moving faster than ever.
We're seeing funds move, before we used to have a 72 to 48 hour window. Now funds are moving within 24 hours, even faster than that.
Gone so quickly, but time is literally money. If you hope to get your money back, immediate reporting needs to occur if any recovery can be attempted. The first thing that the individual needs to do is contact their bank immediately. Costly and tragic when this happens, Robin.
So what can home buyers do to protect themselves before this even happens?
So I talked to the Secret Service about this, and their tips are check the email address and URL used in any communication asking you to transfer money. Many people are doing business on their phone. That makes catching this thing slightly different because the addresses can look slightly different. It's harder to see on your phone. So the best thing to do is break out your computer before sending out such a large sum of money. You want to verify with the closing agents and parties in advance what the process is going to be before the closing. It should never change. So it is a red flag if you receive an email asking to do things differently. when it's time to send money. And finally, call your title company before you do the transfer to confirm that your money is going to the right place. And Robin, one other thing the Secret Service told me, this often happens right before the weekend. People are busy. They're trying to get things off their plate. Once it's the weekend, you're not thinking about your bank. So a lot of these scammers prey on that.
But you're right about those addresses. It could be just one letter off, but it looks so legit.
And that's why you look at it on your computer, because then you can really see it.
That's true.
And people are so excited to be closing on their homes.
Addresses can look.
As you can see, this is another form of fraud where basically the fraudsters are using a form of interception. Now, I know people who work in a corporate facility or a corporate-based position, they get this training about not accepting emails that looks like spams and hacks and things like that. That's the same thing that you need to apply to looking at your home email address. I'm going to give you a few examples because it just seemed like, you know, the elements has been testing me most recently. So a couple of months ago, I received the email basically saying we confirmed your order for about $1,500 through PayPal. And I said to myself, what? I didn't order anything 6 o'clock this morning. So they said, please call something. Now, this email looked like it was from PayPal, but so I started to think, and I called. But then when I called, that's when it dawned on me, why would PayPal tell me to call them when I know it's an actual dispute mechanism on the actual profile? So I said, let me go look at my profile first before I go. And I hung up on a person and I looked, there wasn't no transaction. So basically what they were going to do was emotionally tie me to a situation while I was on the phone and try to talk me into I don't know, maybe paying them, giving them my bank information so they can return the money to me, which would allow them to have my bank information because it literally was not a transaction in my PayPal account. But when I look at the email and I compared the email, it had the PayPal logo, it had the signature at the bottom, but when you looked at the email address, it had a Google email as the origins. So that was one. The second thing, as far as interception on a device. Now, as coming up with the buyback program, we have went through some technical difficulties. We have a lot of contractors from different countries that work with me and doing things like updating the SEO of our website, making sure that the pixels is right, these type of things. Make a long story short, there was a gentleman that I contract with from Pakistan, and he was supposed to update my SEOs. What ended up happening is that we had a slew of about 5 students that enrolled really fast, and I was excited. I was like, oh, wow, the guy, he started working on my SEOs. There's students from Pakistan coming in. But then when I started to look, it was like, they went into, this is when we were offering the membership for free. They got into the membership for free, but they had access to the full program. They had access to the intro program. And I'm like, how did they do this when I know I constructed this actual website? When I went in to look at the website, I could not see changes of the program allowing these individuals in it. It was the settings being changed. It was a full investigation that I had to do with Wix. Wix did about a month investigation, still could not see where the changes was taking place, but they did see me changing it back. They kept seeing me change it back. Literally, me and this hacker went one day like 5 times back to back. I took what he changed off. As soon as I went back an hour later, he changed it again. And it was bad. So this is proof, as well as when this situation happened, I talked to my little brother. My little brother is taking an actual cybersecurity program. And when I explained to him what was happening, he was like, sure. He said, sure, he can get in and he can copy your whole thing, your whole website. He can get in through the back door. I said, yes, because there's some type of back door that this person is getting into that Wix cannot even see them changing the settings, but they see me changing it back. So basically, what my brother was telling me that they were teaching him over, well, he's not going to learn all of that, but he said there's over 3,000 ways to actually hack a website, to hack not just a website, big corporations. He said that basically they pay cybersecurity experts to like hack into like banking companies' websites, apps, and things to see the level of their security and what they need to fix. This is why they have a specialty of cybersecurity. This is how serious it is. So let's just imagine the fact that everything is online. You literally don't have to go in person. They're accepting all of these electronic signatures, and it is now accepted into law as we talk about the changes in law to balance out these rights and obligations that corporations have. So once these electronic signatures are on there, they're as good as being real signatures. And you become obligated or involved or entrenched in these particular scams. Now, as she stated, she was on the phone with the mortgage company, and she was about to do a wire. It was something that was already set up. It was in the time frame. They sent her email, boom, right on time. This is the monitoring that can be done from your PC address. It's so sad to say. And also the Google Council, because Google Council is like a motherboard. These are some of the things I had to learn just for primetime home buyers to be safe. That if hackers can hack into Google in itself and home into your information, they can get everything that's connected to the Google account. Remember, that's sign-ins, that's banking information, all type of things. Now, the safeguard is you're supposed to receive an email. Like if someone goes into your bank, you'll receive a text, or if someone goes into one of your platforms, you'll be like, hey, are you trying to log in? This is the code. These are protection mechanisms. But entities that doesn't have that you deal with, you need to be aware of that. So they sent her an email. Friday is the worst day to do big business transactions. You know why? Because there's no more business day. So once she did the wire transfer on Friday at 4:00, 2 days, the scammers have to get away, liquidate their account, move forward, and not be caught. So be aware of the days that you do transactions. Also, the rush when you're dealing with a company and they're like, yeah, you got to do it today, let's get it closed today, we did it today. Wait a minute, think about it, just take your time. It's gonna happen. It's no deadline. So if you feel like it's pressure, wait a minute, think about it. So we talked about phishing emails, how they can intercept through, as I told you, through your PC. Oh, I didn't tell you through the PC, but I told you through the email. Okay. Now, another one through the PC. I shared this with the buyback team. I believe it was the buyback team. I'm on a computer. This is when my firewall was expired. They give you a 2-year warranty when you get your firewall. So not less than a week later, I put up the computer. Boom. A sign says, stop. Don't go nowhere. You have a virus. This is Microsoft. Call us right now so we can help you get your PC back on. I stopped and I'm like, oh my God, I literally just got this computer. What is going on? And then again, I had to think about it because you know me, I just got to think about stuff. I said, wait a minute. I said, Microsoft don't do that. And if they hack my stuff, why would they want me to? Why would they want me to call them? So I saw the number. I'm gonna tell you, I was being bad this time. So I called the number because what I did, because it said, don't click off of this, because literally it's a pop-up. They intercept your PC and they put a pop-up. Now, I took a chance. I ain't telling you just do what I do, but God said it was okay. I X'd it out. My computer was fine. I said, these some of us. I called, I said, hey, I had this pop-up on my computer, and is this Microsoft? Yes, this is Microsoft. And yeah, we're going to help you get this. You have a virus on your computer. I said, listen, let me tell you something. First and foremost, why would you send this BS? I kind of been bad. I said bad words to my computer, knowing that it's a scam. I said, you think we stupid? You think we stupid? The lady was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? If you know it's a scam, why you call me back? This is what the lady told me. I said, I called you back to let you know that Americans are not stupid and we're not idiots. Okay. So you could try to intercept my computer and send me a bogus email and then try to ask me for some money, but it ain't happening. And I just hung up. So this is how high tech they are. You cut the computer on, pop up. People who just got their computers, this has happened to them as well. Pop up. So be aware of the scams and the high technology that's going on. They can find a lot about you just by doing a Google search. It's called skip tracing. This is something that I deal with all the time, skip tracing, because this is another aspect of prime-time home buyers where we do asset recovery. So we have to do skip tracing. It's pretty easy. I can find someone's relative in a matter of 45 minutes. Number, where they live, where they used to live, where they used to work, friends and family. Imagine what people with bad intentions can do. Okay, so please be aware that your PC can be hacked, and try not to do business on a Friday. I mean, I know it's like, why not a Friday? But we just explained to you why not a Friday. So now we're going to get into another type of scam, and this was 2 months ago, and this is brought to you by Houston News. This is really sad, because at the time that people are really suffering, especially within the pandemic and post-pandemic, this is when they fully took advantage, especially when the stimulus checks came about. Okay.
In October, this plot of land in the 700 block of Fortune Street was listed for sale by owner on multiple real estate websites. But there was one big problem.
Not for sale.
Daryl Elise Brown owns the land with her siblings, heir property from their parents who purchased it in the 1950s.
To leave a legacy.
The land has remained vacant and they've never listed it for sale. But in late October, Brown got a call from a woman in Georgia about a pending sale, looking for a Mr. Daryl Brown.
I said, there is no Mr. Daryl Brown. And she says, oh my God. She says, ma'am, I've been talking with this person and he's trying to sell the property.
Brown filed a police report and called a realtor friend to get the listings removed.
Immediately, they sent me an email and said, we're taking it off. So I thought, okay, we're good.
But over the next several weeks, they found a for sale sign on their property along with survey stakes and received calls from 3 different title companies about someone attempting to close on the property.
They were getting ready to send the check to the fraudster.
In one case, the sale actually went through.
Due to fraudulent paperwork, forged signatures of my siblings.
A warranty deed filed with the Harris County Clerk's Office had a New Jersey notary stamp with Texas struck out on the paperwork.
I don't see how they cleared that, but they did.
Brown now taking steps to make sure it doesn't happen to her again.
And I have a sign that's going to say this property is not for sale, fraud activity.
And hoping it never happens to anyone else.
Be vigilant.
Wow. Wait.
I don't see.
Look at this, guys. Can y'all hear me? I'm not on mute. Do y'all see this? This is the mistakes that I want you guys to see when you're doing your due diligence. Remember when we talk about doing a title search and you're looking through the document to look at seals, to look at dates? If I see a seal like this, I'm like, oh no, this is suspect. This is a title defect. This is an issue. So for a title company to move forward with a document like this, lawyers, that shows the negligence that's happening in the system and maybe the lack of check and balances that's going on, because people who know that they're going to get a penalty for not doing their job right, this won't happen. I'm sorry, this is trash. Y'all know I'm very I'm very, very serious about tax liens and tax deeds, and I'm very serious about not being frauded. You know, I already fought we already told you, we fought a county because of this type of stuff. What is this? So this is another example, but they were so good that they were able to get a warranty deed. A warranty deed is not just one deed. It's a transfer document. It's an affidavit of ownership. Yes. That has to be notarized and sealed and recorded. All of those parties was negligent. Not they just gonna blame it on the scammer. I'm blaming it on everybody because this is ridiculous. And me as a homeowner, I think I'm ready. I'm sorry, y'all. Buyback team, y'all know I'll be ready. I will sue. I will sue the county for allowing them to do this. I will sue them for all of my legal fees. And if I could get pain and suffering. Yep. Make it make sense. We're gonna teach y'all how to make stuff like that make sense. Now let's go on to another one. Hold on. Real estate scam on the rise as the popularity of Chattanooga North Shores increase. Another, it's similar. It's not different. Now, if we keep showing you these type of frauds, I want you to be aware it's not different. They're using these title documents, IDs, and electric signature to verify. And it's so sad as the homeowner because what could you do if the county is negligent? If the lawyers are negligent, yeah, I'm gonna talk about it. I've seen negligence. Let's go. Let's listen to this. Just a 2-minute, another example. Scam
If you're
alert.
looking to rent a home to live in or stay in on a summer vacation, you need to listen to this.
Experts say a certain type of real estate scam is popping up more in places like Chattanooga's North Shore.
Hannah Lawrence shows us what to look out for.
A realtor we spoke with says that this type of scam is becoming more popular as this area becomes more desirable. He says that if you're looking for a home on a rental site and it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
Lots of people want to live on Chattanooga's North Shore right now.
A lot of families want to be here.
Why? Kevin Womack says families are zoned for good schools in this neighborhood.
And you're also convenient to Riverview Park, and it's just a great community.
So when this 2-bedroom, 2-bath home popped up on Craigslist for $500 a month, several people were interested.
I have had multiple phone calls.
The problem is this home isn't for rent. Womack is in the process of selling it. He says a scammer took the picture and information he posted and put it on Craigslist cheap.
They hope that somebody knee-jerk reaction is going to say, oh, this is great. We want to get it really quick before someone else does.
This type of activity becomes more active in the summer months.
Jim Winsett with the Better Business Bureau says more people move during the summer and others are trying to find vacation rentals.
When scams occur with rental property, usually it's a low price, it's attractive. It probably should raise a red flag right away.
Luckily, it did to the people Womack says corresponded with the scammer. In these emails, the scammer gave 2 different reasons why he couldn't meet in person. Property owners' names can be found on tax records. In this particular case, the scammer was going by the homeowner's name.
It's also upsetting that people, go to that far to really scam somebody.
Tonight, if you're trying to rent any home, the BBB recommends you meet the landlord, check Google Maps to make sure the property exists, and look up the address to make sure it's not posted elsewhere.
Womack says that the scam posts usually pop up the day after he posts a house for sale online. He says that makes his job harder because he has to monitor those and get them taken down. Reporting in Chattanooga, Hannah Lawrence.
All right, we're gonna break this down just a little bit. Now I'm gonna explain to you how they can get this thing off. Now, what they said specifically, if you can hear me, let me make sure y'all can hear me, is that they use the homeowner's information. So what can happen is that they don't have to open a bank account in the homeowner's name, because I know you're thinking like, how, if they're going to use the homeowner's name, how do they get the check cash? What end up happening is that they can create an affidavit of estate, and an affidavit of estate is a document that is going to basically highlight who is the estate owner, and the rights for you to be a POA or power of attorney through the transaction, which is pretty normal because that's what lawyers do. So in that capacity, where you have a fake document that says that this person gave you the right, because now you got the check, the scammer got the check and it's in the owner's name, and it's like, how are we gonna cash this check? This is how they cash it. So it'll be a third-party endorser. They will show their bank or whatever fraudulent bank account they have with a name that's not linked to them. That's going to create another line of buffer, because they're not going to create a bank account in your name. They got to cash the check. This will be the third line of buffer, which separates them from the transaction they're creating. They'll put the check into this account through a third-party measure. For instance, you're the power of attorney for your mother, and you have to buy her medicines. Now, you're able to take a Social Security check or whatever check that she gets and put it into your account as the POA, as that trustee. And she's the beneficiary of the assets, as we just talked about in the last live. Does it make sense? That's how they don't even have to really transfer the property into their name or another name. Does it make sense? We have one more example to show you. It's so sad we have so many different examples to show you, but the scams is on the rise, and I really want the buyback team and the general public to be aware of this, okay? I hope you guys got a little bit more insight into these particular subject matters of the scam, and by me giving you examples, because sometimes you can kind of look at it abstractly like, that don't apply to me, but they can get you one way or another. So now we're going to get into one more, which is title fraud. The same thing as what they're transferring the titles back and forth, but this is just a little bit different. These guys are geniuses. This is my thing. If you could come up with a scam like this, you're a genius.
Growing rapidly. According to Zillow, over the last decade, home values in the Metro Detroit area have appreciated by nearly 148%. And with that boom comes a rise in home title fraud. It's another form of identity theft where a fraudster sells the victim's property or refinances it. And when the mortgage is not paid, the property enters foreclosure. Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Faraz Javed shows us just how...
I'm sorry. Do you hear how serious this can get? I'm sorry. We're just going to start it one more time because this bothers me. Now, if you don't own the property, this is even more damaging because you have a bank that's going to be coming after you because somebody refinanced in your name. Let's start this one more time. This hurt my heart. It really hurt my heart to hear this.
Southeast Michigan's real estate market growing rapidly. According to Zillow, over the last decade, home values in the Metro Detroit area have appreciated by nearly 148%. And with that boom comes a rise in home title fraud. It's another form of identity theft where a fraudster sells the victim's property or refinances it. And when the mortgage is not paid, the property enters foreclosure. Tonight, 7 Action News reporter Faraz Javed shows us just how easy it is to trick property owners and what you need to know to avoid getting scammed.
Home title fraud is one of the fastest growing white-collar crimes in the country. And the worst part, it's extremely easy to pull off.
Matthew Cox is a convicted home title con artist who served 13 years in federal prison for defrauding nearly $16 million.
I liked the house and I thought this is a decent house. I would go to public records and just transfer the title from them to whoever's ID I had, and then go open some bank accounts and then borrow against the property. I mean, it's that simple.
The 52-year-old says home title fraud used to be a skill. Now even a tech-savvy kid can pull off the scam.
The truth is, you could go downtown right now and find out a ton of information on any of your neighbors. You could file documents. Nobody calls to verify the documents.
Retired FBI agent Art Fitzenmeyer says most criminals are using the equity on the property to acquire loans.
Sometimes they'll even use the same property 2 or 3 different times for loans.
I rented a house from somebody one time and I borrowed like $500,000 on the house. And the house was in his name. The house was only worth $190,000. So I just took out 3 mortgages at the same time.
Home title fraud is one of the most underreported crimes because it's hard to trace the scammer or the money while the lender comes after the home.
The guy stole the monies off somewhere, on a white sandy beach with drinks that have umbrellas in them, and you're off to the courthouse with a $600 an hour attorney, and it takes at least 2 years most of the time.
To make matters worse, Art says the only solution for now is to have a monitoring service like Home Title Law.
Title theft is not covered by your homeowner's policy, HOAs, banks, nothing. People think, hey, I've got title insurance. That concluded when you got the key to the front door.
Now, Matthew says that people can try monitoring their property deeds by themselves, but they will still need legal help if fraudulent activity is detected. I'm Faraz Javed, 7 Action News.
Wow.
What am
This hurt my heart, guys. I'm gonna just tell you this. Imagine receiving a notice that basically your mortgage is in default, or that you owe money based on somebody borrowing on your home. So basically, as we talked about, now as tax liens and tax deed investors, what we can do is take our lots and our land that we invest in and go to a lending company. Let me just make sure y'all can hear me. We can go into a lending company and say, hey, we don't have the best credit, but we have 2 lots that's worth $15,000 a piece. In this case, they're using someone's home who's worth $150,000 or so and say, hey, we're going to borrow against this home for this loan. It could be a personal loan or whatever. They have the credentials. They did fake transfer documents, and as what he said, when you go to the recorder's office, it is not their right or their duty to teach you law, and it's not their right or duty to verify that the documents are factual. They're just verifying that the process is being processed properly and it has the seals. And that's what I told you. They were supposed to see that cross out of that notary. That wasn't an adequate seal. That should have been the recorder's office who noticed that. But what that goes to say, that's when they stop documents. But they don't know if the ID looks good, the paperwork is good, there ain't no scratches, X's, O's, they're going to process it. So you have that happen, and they're focusing on vacant lots. And you know, we have a lot of vacant lots, tax liens and tax deed family. That's why you want to secure your property. You want to put on your property owner, like on my property in Maryland, it says primetime home buyers. If you have any questions, contact this office or email. And they know, unless somebody removed it, it's there. So stake your claim on your property so no one think that no one owns it. Secure your property. Look, make sure that you get to know the people around. So the people in the neighborhood can say, hey, somebody's been coming around your lot, ma'am, this, that, and the third. As an investor, we're talking from an investor perspective as well. Now, the home title, the title policy, it is important to get title insurance. And it's not totally that as soon as you open the key to the door, the title insurance is done. The job of the title company is to, one, look at any issues such as what we showed you, any encumbrance, any liens, IRS liens, and they are to ensure that there's no issues. Once you get title insurance, that title insurance don't cut off the day that you open the door, unless that's what it say in the agreement. That's why we're going to go into contract law in our law seminars, so you can understand how to read these big, long, tumultuous contracts that's saying nothing. They're saying a bunch of repeat. Once you know how to buffer them out, you're going to catch the nonsense, because usually these companies use cookie cutter contracts. I even do too. Like even with the disclaimer, they cookie cutter and they just change it to fit their particular situation. So we teach you how to highlight that. So you're going to look at the contracts between you and a title company and ensure that it's a forever notice. As we told you, we want that indefinite notice to everyone who have interest in the property to never come back and say, hey, we have interest in the property. And also to ensure that the title company is a thorough title company and they did what they were supposed to do. That insurance, that's what it's set for. So my hands go up to the guy. I'm not sure what he's talking about, but this is what you want to make sure you verify with your title company. Okay. So today's broadcast went on. We're going to about 50 minutes right now. We're going to come to an end. I hope you guys, got a lot of insight into these 4 major ways of them doing schemes. It could be title, deed, selling your property on Craigslist. Ridiculous. So one thing to close off with, people as renters as well. This is to the renters. If you see something in an area that you know the rent is averaging $1,000, $1,200, and you see something for $450 on Craigslist, think about it. Okay? Just think about it. It may be a setup, maybe something dangerous going on, but it's sure enough not going to be that rental property for that amount. So please look at credible websites. They do that on as he said, sometimes they're on credible websites, but you have to do your due diligence. And the court doesn't excuse ignorance sometimes. Now, because you have protections from federal laws and consumer protection bureaus, you can take these people to court. Because this has been commonality. It's something that's going on. You see what I'm saying? But if it was not nothing that was commonality, you may not be protected. So just make sure that you know the law around you. You pay attention to the scams that's going on. Always check your extra property. I'm sorry if you got to do if you got 15 properties all over the United States and lots, you better secure them. Okay, buyback team. We have a high volume of properties and land across the United States. Please be careful. So we love you guys. We're going to see you on Friday. We're going to be going into Maine, the tax lien state, how to start investing in it. We're going to pick one county, get into the registration process, and much more. So I appreciate you being with Lashley today, and I'll see you on Friday. Y'all know I'm silly. Have a great evening.
Would you like to learn a brand new and innovative way to invest your extra money that has a low barrier to entry and low competition? What if I told you that it is a guaranteed method to get up to 18 to 20% return on your investment? Tax lien and deed purchasing is the only way to get into the real estate market through the back door. No credit and no loans needed. This method isn't commonly taught, and therefore the competition is very low, for now. Put together a 14-hour info-packed course which will teach you everything you'll need to know to get started. Learn at your own pace, step by